Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Madam Chair, we're live.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Today is Thursday, October 7th, and this is the virtual public hearing of the Virginia Redistricting Commission. The focus of today's public hearing is the West Central region of the Commonwealth, and we are looking forward to hearing from you all about this area you call home. I am Virginia Thornton. I'm a citizen commissioner from Forest, Virginia, and I will be acting as the presiding commissioner at this hearing. I'm going to ask my fellow commissioners to introduce themselves, please.
This is Delegate Les Adams. I represent the 16th House District, which is Martinsville, Henry County, and Pittsylvania County. Thank you.
Good evening. This is Delegate Dolores McQuinn. I represent the 70th House District, which includes Northern Chesterfield, the city of Richmond, the eastern part of the city of Richmond, Eastern Henrico, as well as all of Charles City, and looking forward to hearing from you this evening. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I am Jose Feliciano. I am from Spotsylvania County, and I'm looking forward to hearing to all the comments given this afternoon.
Good afternoon. I'm Brandon Hutchins, Citizen Commissioner representing Hampton Roads.
Hello, I'm George Barker. I'm a state senator representing parts of Alexandria, Fairfax, and Prince William.
And I am Delegate Marcus Simon from Fairfax County, representing Falls Church City and Fairfax County in the 53rd House District. Look forward to hearing everyone's input on our process today.
I'm Senator Stanley. I represent the 20th Senate District down in Southside, Virginia, which encompasses the city of Galax, part of Carroll, all of Patrick County, all of Henry County, all of the city of Martinsville, part of Franklin County, part of Pittsylvania County, most of the city of Danville, except for 2 precincts, and half of Halifax.
I'm Ryan McDougall. I represent Hanover County in the Senate. My district goes from Spotsylvania County on the west through Caroline County, butts up to Fredericksburg, and then through King George, the suburb of Fairfax and Stafford, and down through the northern neck and middle peninsula.
Is that all of my fellow commissioners?
I just joined. This is Sean Kumar, citizen member from the city of Alexandria.
I think that might be everyone. So a couple of housekeeping matters before we begin. This hearing and all subsequent hearings are being translated simultaneously in Spanish. If you would like to watch the hearing in Spanish, please send an email to virginiaredistricting2021@gmail.com to receive a link to be admitted to the Spanish translation Zoom meeting. This is for viewing and listening only and not for providing comment. I will be calling off names from the sign-up sheet, so please forgive me in advance if I mispronounce your name. When you are called, we ask that you first identify yourself and tell us where you live. If you are speaking as a part of a group or on behalf of a group, please identify the group as well. Please also state the specific map you are commenting on. The most recent House of Delegate maps are A7 and B6. The most recent Senate maps are A5 and B4. Given the number of persons who have signed up to speak, we're setting each person's speaking time to no more than 3 minutes. We will be keeping track of the time and will give a 30-second warning. If a previous speaker has already stated what you'd like to say, we encourage you to simply state your name and where you live and that you echo the comments made by whomever. The purpose of this series of public hearings is to hear from you all, the citizens of the Commonwealth, about our proposed maps. This is your time and we are here in listening mode. This time is for us to hear from you, to learn from you, so we will not be taking questions or engaging in any discussion or debate tonight. We are most interested in the factors you want the commission to consider when reviewing the proposed districts and your thoughts about your community and how you would or would not define it. But all comments shared here today will be heard and considered when we finalize our maps. So let's get started. First up we have is Peggy Lane. Is Peggy on?
Yes, I am.
Wonderful.
Thank you very
Welcome.
much.
Thank you. So go ahead and share with us your comments, please.
Okay, my name is Peggy Lane and I live in Blacksburg. I grew up in Lynchburg and I've also lived in Arlington. I advocated for passage of the amendment that established the commission last year, and I've watched almost every one of your meetings. I'm speaking to you today as an individual. One thing that I've learned over the past months is that it's very difficult to balance all of the criteria that you all have to consider to achieve fair maps. At your first round of hearings, I spoke to urge you to unite Blacksburg and Montgomery County. We're currently divided into 2 Senate districts and 3 House districts. The draft maps make some progress in that direction by uniting the town of Blacksburg so that the Virginia Tech campus is no longer split between 2 House districts. But the commission's map drawers continue to split Montgomery County, the largest population center west of Roanoke, into 3 House districts. I understand how challenging it is to meet the population criterion, and lines have to be drawn somewhere, but Blacksburg, Radford, and Christiansburg should be kept together as much as possible. The city and the 2 towns form the core of jobs, shopping, and culture for the region. I also support Senate Map B4, specifically District 37, that combines Blacksburg, Radford, and Christiansburg with the city of Roanoke. Yes, it's ugly, but contrary to what a speaker at a previous hearing said, we do form a community of interest. Radford University, Virginia Tech, and the V.T. Carilion School of Medicine and Biomedical Research Center are major economic drivers for the region. Montgomery County has little in common with Bath or Highland County other than our natural beauty. Proposed maps that combine the university communities into districts with surrounding rural areas don't allow our voice to be heard in Richmond. I know that some commissioners don't trust anything that comes out of a university, but I encourage you to consider the analyses and suggestions provided by the Princeton Gerrymandering Project. Their comments are focused on ensuring overall fairness by creating competitive districts and providing opportunities for all citizens of our increasingly diverse Commonwealth to be heard. The open memo from Professor Sam Wang provides concrete suggestions for compromise that could bring your draft maps together. You all have my admiration and respect for all you've done to get up and running and to actually produce maps. I've been disappointed to see partisanship erupt at some of your meetings, but on the whole, I'm tremendously grateful for the commitment that you've shown to doing what's right for the citizens of Virginia. You've come so far. Don't give up now. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Lane. Appreciate your comments. All right, next we have Brian Alphin. Is Brian with us?
Not here, ma'am.
All right. Next, I have Aaron Corbett. Do we have Aaron?
Not here, ma'am.
All right. And next I have Emily Piontek.
Not here, ma'am.
All right, thank you. How about Elizabeth Obenshain?
Yes, I am here.
Wonderful. Welcome.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Beth Obenshain. I am a resident of Blacksburg, and I'm also president of the League of Women Voters of Montgomery County. Again, I want to thank all of you for the effort and the hours that you have put into this important task. I'm speaking today in support of Senate Map number B4 that includes Blacksburg and Roanoke together in Senate District 37. When considering communities of interest, it is clear that Blacksburg and Roanoke are tightly linked economically, politically, and socially. Virginia Tech now has campuses in both communities. Growth around the new Virginia Tech Carilion Medical School is transforming a formerly distressed part of Roanoke. We also support having Christiansburg share this district also. Interstate 81 and the 460 bypass channel traffic easily between these communities. According to Virginia Tech, thousands of Virginia Tech employees commute more than 30 minutes to get to work on the Blacksburg campus. The majority of them commute from the Roanoke area. Almost 10% of Montgomery County residents commute to Roanoke or Roanoke County to work each day. The community started the SmartWay bus because of this shared workforce. Roanoke's corporate and political leadership has long considered it essential to the future of Roanoke to link itself more closely to Virginia Tech's economic engine. Now even the airport shares both names, the Roanoke-Blacksburg Regional Airport. Although the other proposed Senate district appears on a flat map to be geographically compact, Blacksburg has few links with Allegheny and Bath counties. In fact, to get to Bath County from Blacksburg, we first have to drive to Roanoke on I-81 and then head north. These communities are separated from Blacksburg and Christiansburg by miles, by mountains, and by different economies. I urge the commission to approve a Senate map that recognizes the many shared links between the growing communities of Blacksburg and Roanoke and Christiansburg. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Obenshain. Next, I have Jocelyn Hildebrand.
Hi, I'm here.
Great, welcome.
Thank you. I would like to echo both Peggy Lane and Elizabeth Obenshain. I too feel that it is incredibly important that we consider Blacksburg, Christiansburg, and Roanoke a community of interest, not only because of what they mentioned, but also because when we're going to the hospital in one of those two places. And like they said, the workers are coming from that distance to get to Virginia Tech. So a lot of what I was going to say, they said, so I'll just leave it there. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And next on my list is Anna Goltz. Is Anna with us?
Hello, I'm sorry I cannot put my face on. I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Excellent. Thank you. I'm sorry that I am driving at this time, so I will just remain on voice. My name is Anna Goltz. I do as a member of the Roanoke City body. I am speaking as an individual. I did not come with prepared comments, but I heartily endorse all three comments that I have heard from the prior three speakers, Ms. Lane, Ms. Obenshain, and my predecessor. I didn't catch your name. I think that you have articulated it very well. It just so happens that my husband is a road warrior for the region. We live in Roanoke City, obviously. He attends meetings in Allegheny and Bath, I would say, twice a month. And when I heard Ms. Lane say that Allegheny and Bath are currently slated to be with Blacksburg, I was muted and I literally laughed out loud. So I heartily endorse the prior comments about Blacksburg, Roanoke, and Christiansburg operating really as one metropolitan region. And I will sign off at this time. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Ms. Goltz. Next, we have Mary Ann Parcher.
I'm on audio only, and all of the concerns that I have already been addressed in terms of keeping Blacksburg and Roanoke Christiansburg area together. I'm a resident of Blacksburg and agree that the economics and the interactivity of those communities far exceeds the way the maps have currently been drawn. Thank you.
Excellent, thank you. Next on my list is Edward Strickler.
Thank you. I live in in Farmville. I sent you an email yesterday to commissioners, and I'll highlight a few things. I'm concerned that some of the comments I've heard from Metro commenters have actually described their adjacent rural areas as not voting like we do. And as I understand the definition of community of interest, the code does not allow that kind of description of a community of interest. So then I'll follow up. So you'll have to deal with that. So then I'll follow up with some other comments about how rural and metro areas are in common communities of interest. For example, how many Virginia metros keep their waste in city limits? Many, perhaps, or most, dump into rural areas that are not incidentally very often in rural communities of color and working class communities. So clearly, when we talk about waste streams, many adjacent rural areas are in fact in a social, cultural, and economic community of interest with metro areas. For example, metro areas have long been dependent on cheaply paid labor that migrates or commutes from adjacent rural areas. Are the people who do much of the dirty, hard work in metro areas who commute in from rural areas not part of their community of interest? And why is that? What about food production? Are the working class people doing dirty, dangerous, and poorly compensated jobs of agricultural production that provide for needs in growing metro areas not worthwhile in metro commentators' assessment of their community of interest? Today, we see metro area interests that need more and more and more energy, predating upon rural landscapes and communities to provide utility scale solar production of electricity, externalizing the effects and costs of these vast acres of toxic e-waste pollution upon the rural jurisdictions. But we still hear metro area commentators denying any community of interest with adjacent rural areas. So it seems to me that many metro area commentators have expressed conceptions of community of interest that are politically partisan, that would not be allowed by the code, or they have abstracted adjacent rural areas from their community of interest, perhaps out of historical blindness, intellectual laziness, or moral indifference. So I'm hoping that this commission will not be blind, lazy, or indifferent, and think about these issues seriously on behalf of the Commonwealth, not just the wealth of metro areas who tend to be very wealthy and rural areas who tend to be not. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Strickland. Next, I have Javier Rodales.
Hello, I'll be joining by audio. My name is Javier Rodales. I am a community member of the Charlottesville-Albemarle area, living most of my adolescence in the Crows area. So I'm speaking for the central area and spending my time in recreation, parts of my life also in the Valley, and also have lived in Charlottesville towards 29 North. I wanted to speak due to my experience as a community member, a son of immigrants in the area, a growing population in Central and also the Valley, that I want to express importance that there should be an acknowledgement that there's a Spanish-speaking community here in the area that has grown, which includes parts of the Valley and Central. That would be, counties of Albemarle, Stewart's Draft, and then it would extend out into Harrisonburg and Stanton, and even Culpeper. I wanted to just express that I think that mapping should take into account that these are communities that talk together. There's this cohesion. There's people who commute, work, and live and traverse these different areas. Through my work and through my volunteering, I see that people move around for health services, for community events, to see family. So what I would want to make sure is that parts of what I've seen that we consider like Central Virginia and parts of the Valley would be connected, as I mentioned before, including Waynesboro and Newmarket. there's a cohesive community that has grown since the last census, from 2010 to 2020. As somebody who's lived here for so many years, I've seen the population grow, and there's a burgeoning and building community, growing community. So I would just ask that the group takes into consideration this as when we're drawing up new maps for communities of interest here in the area. Thank you, and good afternoon.
Thank you very much. Next, I have Victoria McCullough.
Hi, all. Good afternoon. My name
Good
is
afternoon.
Victoria McCullough. I'm from Charlottesville, Virginia, and I wanted to support a lot of what Javier just said before me. I'm also from the Central Virginia area, and through my work, which is with the Spanish-speaking immigrant population in this area, that is represented in the services that we get asked to provide and that our service providers also provide, that tends to include an area that's the city of Charlottesville. It's the county of Albemarle. It'll run up to Stewart's Draft and Stanton, and go up a little bit towards Harrisonburg, and as far north as Winchester or Front Royal. So for that reason, I think that the A5 State Commission app map is the most appropriate one that reflects this community that we do have living here. As Javier said also just before me, census data shows that there was in Virginia almost a 44% increase in our Hispanic community members, and we know that these are that these are all just a really big connected service area. So it is a community of interest that that it would be good to see reflected in these maps. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you for your time. All right, next I have Lois Garrett on the list. Is Lois joining us?
Not here, ma'am.
Thank you. Followed up by Fanny Smedile.
Not here, ma'am.
Okay. Timothy Wilk.
Yes, hello. Thank you
Hi.
for my comments today. I just wanted to speak briefly, echoing some previous comments, that I am, after reviewing the current proposals, I'm in strong support of Senate Map B4 and House of Delegates Map A4. Another thing that I really wanted to stress is how important it is that the city of Charlottesville be located within a more geographically compact congressional district moving forward. The current 5th congressional district stretches over a wide geographic area that's not very economically or socially intertwined. I would propose that a new 5th congressional district be closer to a circle in shape or more compact, and ideally the cities of Harrisonburg and Charlottesville would be represented by the same congressional district. Thank you.
Excellent, thank you. I have Reed Lynch next.
Not here, ma'am.
Thank you, Ms. Shea. And next is Randall Freed.
Good afternoon. My name is Randy Freed. I live in Manassas, and I volunteered with One Virginia 2021 to promote the constitutional amendment that created the Redistricting Commission. Thank you for all the hard work that you've been putting in to improve our democratic process here in Virginia. Many of the public comments that you've received have focused on relatively fine-grained issues related to communities of interest. I'm going to offer comments that are related more to the big picture. My ask is this: now that you've painted yourselves into a corner by commissioning dueling partisan maps, please rely on the judgment of an expert, nonpartisan third party to get out of this corner. As a volunteer with One Virginia 2021, I've always been seeking a fair, nonpartisan approach to redistricting. You chose to set up a process that produced maps from a Democratic consultant and a Republican consultant. That's resulted in a totally foreseeable endgame where if either party accepts the maps produced by the opposing party's consultant, it looks like you've caved to the other side. It's a system designed for stalemate rather than compromise and agreement. What's the solution? A good nonpartisan way forward would be to first review the plans to call out any that don't meet your minimum standards for all criteria except partisan fairness. Second, rely on an external expert to grade the remaining plans in terms of partisan fairness. And then third, choose the plan that gets the overall highest grade. By having Democratic and Republican consultants, you've injected unavoidable conflict of interest into the process. These consultants can do a perfectly good job figuring out ways to draw districts with the right number of people and meeting the requirements of the Voting Rights Act and with the attributes of being compact and contiguous and using existing political boundaries. These are all factors that can be measured objectively. The scary part is that they can do this in different ways that could skew the outcome of the election by stacking and packing. This is where an unbiased third party is needed to make sure voters are fairly represented. The Princeton Gerrymandering Project stands ready and waiting to be the objective nonpartisan third party, and they've already rated the partisan fairness of all the draft maps. Note that this is very likely to be close to the approach that SCOVA would need to use anyway if the commission can't come to an agreement. The court would likely appoint an expert, nonpartisan third party. So by going with this approach, the commission would likely get about the same outcome as we would get if you deadlock without the disgrace and the disappointment. Please introduce expert nonpartisan third-party judgment. We don't want maps that produce a partisan advantage. We want a legislature that represents Virginia voters. Thank you very much for your consideration and keep up the good work.
Thank you. Next on my list is Robert Hildebrand. Do we have Mr. Hildebrand?
Hi, I'm here. Thanks. Thanks for having me. My name is Robert Hildebrand. I'm from Blacksburg. I'm joining as a panelist now.
All right.
Great. Really happy to speak after so many people that have said wonderful things. I'd really like to echo the ideas of Peggy Lane, Elizabeth Obersheim, and Lisa Goetsch about connecting Blacksburg, Christiansburg, Radford, and Roanoke under the different maps. And I'd really like to echo the previous speaker, whose name I just forgot. And please use Princeton Gerrymandering Project or Moon Duchin and the MGG group to evaluate maps and to give you nonpartisan information about these maps. They're very talented people. I've spoken with them. I've talked to them about these things. And I really would encourage you to use their information there. With that, I would like, it would be wonderful if you could do the following things. Get current up-to-date 2020 election data, which is something that's not available for analysis at the moment. Everyone's using 2016 data, and the 2020 data has absentee ballots that are not disaggregated to the precincts, so they're unusable for proper analysis at the moment. And that seems very important for understanding how gerrymandered districts are and giving proper analysis. Second, it'd be awesome if you could release a list of communities of interest that you're considering with these maps. So we can see what communities of interest are important to you and maybe what's left to think about. And lastly, I would love to see some transparency in the map drawing. Whoever's drawing the maps to actually give a written analysis of how they came up with the map. This is what the special master did in 2019. We hired some guy from California to draw the map in 2019, as the courts did. And he had like a 20-page summary of how he did everything. So even if we didn't agree with it, we at least knew what happened and can reflect on that in the future. So those are my 4 points, and thanks for your time. And also thanks for everything.
Thank you. All right, next on my list is Sylvia Wood. Do we have a Miss Sylvia Wood?
Not here, ma'am.
All right. How about Tina Nunez?
Good afternoon. Thank you for your time and for the opportunity to speak to you about my community. My name is Tina Nunez. I am speaking as an individual. I have lived in Charlottesville and Albemarle County for over 20 years. I currently live very close from 5th Street and Interstate 64. Through my work at the hospital and my volunteer work with several nonprofit organizations, I am very involved with my community. We all share the same values, traditions, culture. Many of us are immigrants and speak Spanish as a first language. We all face the same challenges, but we try our best to provide support for each other. My daughter graduated from James Madison University. Myself, I have taken some classes in Harrisonburg. Sometimes I go to Augusta Health for specialty medical services. So I consider my congressional community to be Charlottesville, Albemarle County, Waynesboro, Stuarts Draft, Staunton, Harrisonburg, and even I would like to include Culpeper. In my community for the Senate, I support the map of the state A5 Commission. For my State House District community, I support the map that was submitted by the Virginia Counts Coalition. I consider all the central and valley areas as part of my community, and I would like to see them connected. Thank you for your time and your consideration.
Thank you very much. Next on my list is Carla Heath.
Yes, I'm here. Thank you.
Welcome.
My name is Carla Heath. I'm a resident of Lynchburg, a longtime advocate for fair maps, and an advocate for reuniting Lynchburg in a single Senate and single delegate district. I want to address my comments this afternoon to everyone who has been engaged in this grand experiment. 16 plus 2 commissioners, the legal, map drawing, and public outreach advisors, and most important, the legislative services support team. At this last public hearing before your maps are finalized, it's appropriate to acknowledge and express appreciation to all of you for your commitment to making Virginia's new redistricting process a success. Under the skillful guidance of co-chairs Babachenko and Harris, you have given Virginians what we voted for, a transparent and fair redistricting process that prioritizes public input. All commission meetings were open to the public. Materials such as analyses of voting patterns and reports from advisors were available for public examination, and there were opportunities at each meeting for public comments. The establishment law called for at least 3 public hearings in different parts of the state. You held 16, 2 in each of 8 regions. You established a process that made it possible for the public to comment directly on the proposed maps. You listened to us, and from my perspective, as a voter of the city of Lynchburg, you responded affirmatively. As Mr. Freed pointed out, your work is not over. The 2 sets of maps have to be reconciled and agreed to by supermajorities of citizen and legislative commissioners. Please carry on and demonstrate that bipartisan compromise is possible and democracy can work. Thank you for your time today and for your hours of public service.
Thank you so much, Ms. Heath. Next, I have Gerald Connor.
Not here, ma'am.
Thank you. Amy O'Callahan.
Hi, thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity. My name is Amy O'Callahan. I am a lifelong Virginian, born in Nova, educated in the public schools of Virginia Beach, graduated BCU in Richmond, and have lived and worked in Central Virginia since 2004, where I still live today in 23229 with my partner and our 2 children. I had a couple of points, but I'd like to go back and strongly echo instead Randy Freed's points in their entirety about the importance of the process. As somebody who supported the One Virginia group, I too want to see this be a true bipartisan fair process, not stacked decks that feel like the exact opposite of what we really voted for there. Also echoing Robert Hildebrand and Peggy Lane's comments specifically around potentially using the Princeton gerrymandering project data in order to include a unbiased, nonpartisan third party. And I'd like to applaud Carla Heath's comments on the extensive effort that all of you have put into this incredibly important process. This is my first time commenting, and I feel a little underprepared compared to prior speakers and a little nervous, as you can probably tell. As a full-time working mom, I've really rarely been able to engage in your process in real time, but know that I am engaged in your outcome and will examine it deeply and feel it as a citizen of our Commonwealth, as I'm sure will many people who maybe didn't have the flexibility to attend. We are not a small portion of the constituency that cares about your work. Please know that so many people care, whether they're able to represent themselves at these meetings or not. My parents, both lifelong Virginians, a veteran and a public school teacher, raised me and my brothers to believe that this country is a place where we do the right thing, where we respect one another and our fundamental rights, even when we disagree. And as an adult, it has been really hard to believe that. And I wager that regardless of political leanings, there's few people in our Commonwealth or even our country who would say that that aspiration reflects the reality we're experiencing today. But we can be better, and each of you are uniquely positioned to transform one of the most historically divisive activities we undergo, show our Commonwealth that it is not naive to place hope in our institution, in our fellow citizens, in our neighbors. Show us that we can accomplish something that, while it inevitably won't be right the first or even the 10th time we do it, it'll move towards something better than we've done in the past. You know, it's really cool that you guys are probably going to be in a social studies textbook one day. What are our kids going to learn from this exercise? It's kind of amazing. So please take this hard-won, precious opportunity and continue to work to do the right thing. Please let me teach my kids that fairness is an aspiration that we still reach for here in the Commonwealth, and maybe even in our country at large. The nation is watching your really important work. So thank you so much for your time, your dedication, and your consideration.
Thank you very much. Next, I have Rebecca Scheckler.
Yes, I'm here. My name is Rebecca Scheckler. I live in Draper, Virginia, which is in Pulaski County, if you don't know, right on the New River. I'm looking at A4 map A4 statewide House of Delegates. I am in the 7th district of the House of Delegates. The 7th and the 12th are so intertwined now, it is crazy. And I don't see that you're doing too much better on the new map. It looks like Wythe County is split up. Municipalities are split up, such as Reiner and Christiansburg and Blacksburg. Other people have mentioned that. But it gets crazy. I mean, the geographical discontinuity makes it very difficult for a person like me who goes out and canvasses to get around. It just is too much traveling. And I'm sure the delegates feel that way too when they're trying to meet with their constituents. Anyway, I fully agree with Mr. Freed's nonpartisan view. I think that might be the best way out of many of your quandaries where different interest groups are opposing each other. Let's show that Virginia can do much better than our country in coming together and having a united front to do the right thing, which other people have said. I thank you for your efforts. It's a lot of work, I know, and you've been working many, many weeks on this. So thank you for your work and do the right thing.
Thank you so much. Next, I have Catherine Coble.
Hi, yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, great, thanks. I am just calling to first thank everyone for participating, and secondly, I just wanted to maybe submit my GPS tracking data as a and life tracking data as a data point for you guys, because I feel like I live 60% in Roanoke and 40% in the New River Valley. And I've done that for a number of years. And actually, my husband literally works 60% in Roanoke and 40% in the New River Valley as a Carilion employee. He works at Carilion Memorial, Roanoke Memorial 60% of the time, and in the New River Valley at the Montgomery regional location 40% of the time. When we moved back to this area, my husband and I both went to Blacksburg High School, and then we decided to locate in Roanoke. Due to that 60-40 split, just a little bit less commute for the 60% to live in Roanoke than we would have had if we'd located in the New River Valley. But we seriously considered located in the New River Valley. My parents and his parents both lived there. Like, these are incredibly connected communities. Like I said, we considered buying both in the New River Valley and in Roanoke when we considered moving back to this region. We constantly travel back and forth. Like I said, cell phone tracking data to you as proof of the connectedness of these two communities. Part that of ours for the us was the UNC triangle. The connection of this universe in terms of research is incredibly deep. So I just wanted to just reiterate what other folks have iterated, that these are two incredibly connected communities, and some gerrymandering expert might look at it and say, oh, this doesn't look right, but I know what feels right from all my move to 5 years old. I appreciate it.
Have we lost
I
Ms.
think
Coble?
she was finished, Madam Chair.
Okay,
You muted
thank you.
herself.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Chair, is that, are the statements being recorded? Because their connection, the sound and the connection was awful. So I really didn't hear half of what she was saying. But anyway, I'm hoping that it's somewhere so we can.
Took a few notes. I'll be happy to share the best, but she was hard to hear. She was a little digital. Next, we have Nero Rasana Yagaman.
Not here, ma'am.
All right. And we had Liz White, but I think she has deferred her time to a Mr. Love, Daquan Love.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me well?
Yes, yes.
I'm Daquan Love, Executive Director of the Virginia State Conference NAACP. We remain concerned that the maps the Commission has thus far produced do not provide Black Virginians equal opportunities to elect candidates of their choice. For example, in the commission's first joint statewide Senate map labeled C2, there appears to be backsliding from the present opportunities that Black voters have under the map that Black voters have under the map that has been in effect since 2011. In particular, we see that there are only 3 majority Black Senate districts. This is a reduction from the existing 5 majority Black Senate districts. All 4 of Virginia's Black state senators were elected from majority Black districts, and no Black senator was elected from a non-majority Black district. The commission's proposed statewide Senate plan raises several concerns and several questions. Why does this map include only 3 majority Black state Senate districts? Is the commission aware that it has reduced the number of majority Black state Senate districts by 40%? Did the commission consider Black Virginians' ability to elect Senate candidates of their choice? How? Is the commission concerned at all about providing Black Virginians with equal opportunities to elect their candidates of choice? It is our goal with this testimony to get on the record about how this now, without having to put forth our own detailed analysis yet, and instead putting it on the commission to explain itself and giving an opening for sympathetic commissioners to run with it and perhaps force a discussion about this important issue. Please let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Love. Next is Edward Champion Jr.
Oh, my name is Ed Champion Jr. I'm from Blacksburg and I'm speaking for myself. First, I want to echo the comments from Ms. Heath and Amy about how grateful I am for the service of the commissioners. This is noble work, and as a Virginian, a current Virginian, I'm proud of it. I also want to echo the comments of Mr. and Mrs. Hildebrand, Beth Obenshane, Ms. Holtz, and Ms. Cable, who advocated for including Blacksburg with Roanoke in their Senate district. I want to add to their comments that the RBTC, the Roanoke Blacksburg Technology Council, is a very active civic group that promotes entrepreneurism and high technology in these areas and holds large meetings of business people interested in improving the economy of the New River Valley and Roanoke in both locations, mixing all those people together as one big business community. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next on my list is Heather Rice. Do we have Miss Rice?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, great.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for listening. My name's
Certainly.
Liz. I'm a citizen of the Northern Virginia area, and I want to thank you all for taking the time to do this for us. It's a long process, and we just thank you for it. My concern is I've been a resident of the Northern Virginia area for the last 10 years, going on 11. I am very active in the Northern Virginia area. I work and I have noticed, how the redistricting does affect what we do when we have to vote. Looking at House Maps B6, it shows that the hallmarks of the types of gerrymanders the commission has created to prevent. First, in terms of partisan gerrymandering, both Alexandria and Arlington are split into more districts that are necessary in an attempt to spread Democratic voters out across larger areas. Both Arlington and Alexandria can wholly contain 2 districts, but instead are split over a number of additional districts to spread the Democrat voters over a wider area in Northern Virginia. The House map presented by the Democrat commissioners is repugnant because of the obvious and egregious race-based gerrymandering that must have been engaged in order to create this map. My suggestion, and please, I ask that you do look at the communities of interest or other geographical boundaries in order to create the 3 majority, minority, or minority influence districts. And that we do just be very cognizant and observe that we don't get into racial redistricting. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your input. Next, I have Jack Blakely.
Not here, ma'am.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Capers. And next on my list is Henry Stovall.
Not here, ma'am.
All right. And finally, I have listed James Enoch.
Hello. Good afternoon, members of the commission. Thank you for your time. I am James Enoch from Campbell County, and I'm just speaking for myself. On a specific map that I will be focusing a little bit on is the B6 house map. But on the Senate, I won't have anything specific or really good about one map over the other. I am a real estate associate broker here in the Central Virginia area and a lifelong Campbell County resident. And just a fun tidbit that I thought of while I was sitting here was I interned for Senator Newman while I was in college. And it was actually the year that Delegate Ferris, if anyone remembers, gave his very colorful dog hunting speech, which I will never forget listening to. And one of the things is I do want to echo Ms. Heath's comment on keeping Lynchburg together. But speaking on the map specifically to my home county is how Campbell County is represented in the B6 house map. Campbell County is like many counties and seeing lots of changes and has quite a bit of spread from the more populated areas like the election districts of Timberlake, Sunburst, and Spring Hill, blended areas like Concord and Rustburg, and mainly rural areas of Brookneal. Currently, House Map B6 is the only map, in my opinion, that makes sense with the way that people interact and work together, enjoy local attractions, how children play sports against each other, and really how the local media market will show and air relevant information about the area political leaders, which I think is very important. Currently, the county is split in 3 different districts, but B6 keeps the county whole with Amherst County. I believe that the A7 house map has an unneeded split. It looks like the Rustburg and Concord supervisor districts are put in a different house district, and that one district spreads all the way up to the Lake Monticello area. And this effectively quashes that section of the county's voice. But B6 keeps the county whole and makes sense to the area. On the Senate maps, I've looked at each proposal and I get nervous seeing how Campbell is in a different district with localities such as Powhatan, Amelia, Goochland. Appomattox is in the district. However, I believe that this is a huge change to the representation that we have now. And there are very few commonalities, again, such as the way that people interact, go to work together. You know, most of the people that I see and interact with are working in Bedford County, working in Lynchburg, and again, the media market. So I hope that as the commission explores the final maps that they explore putting Campbell County in a Senate district with localities of similar nature, such as Bedford, Amherst, and Lynchburg. And if we are split, that more of that split is pairing Campbell County in areas like Timberlake with Forest and Lynchburg City, and keeping rural areas together like Charlotte County and Halifax. Thank you for your time, and I wish you the continued success through redistricting.
Thank you, Mr. Enoch. Appreciate your time. And he was the last person I had on my list. Was there anyone that showed up, Ms. Capers, that was not on previously, but was on the list?
No, ma'am.
All right, then I will consider this public hearing to be completed and adjourn our meeting.